All right, good morning. It is early. Of course, I like to get here early before anybody else. Ready for the light? There it goes. So it is September, end of October is the SEMA show in Las Vegas. We mentioned this before. We kind of did a little teaser, or not a teaser, just a mention, just to gauge interest. George and I, as well as two of our other close friends that are kind of related to LHT, they don't actually work here, but they're a part of the whole LHT thing. They're going to be there, but we were planning on doing like a meet and greet, George and myself. I'll see about getting some LHT t-shirts. We'll ship them to our location, wherever we're staying, which is still up in the air. We had plans and it fell through. So we'll ship some t-shirts there, have like a little meet and greet. And again, it's not, you know, pompous based. Hey, come and look at us. We're going to sit behind the table and act all cool. I'm going to sign posters. I'm going to sign a poster of myself. Picture of me holding a welder. We're going to just hang out, meet people. This is kind of like what I used to enjoy about car shows, was just meeting people and saying hi, and you know, you share the same kind of passion. Hey, look, the hatch is done. You know what that means? Now the hatch is done, we have nothing else to do. We're wide open the rest of the year. We're sitting around. Don't be distracted by the red car on the lift. That's just it. So let us know your interest. We'll start giving you more information once we iron out the details and we know exactly where we're going to be. We're probably going to have a meet and greet inside SEMA. SEMA starts on November 2nd, I think, so it'll be somewhere in that SEMA week. So let us know, give us some feedback, let us know if you want to meet us. We love to meet car guys, we love to meet you, and if you tell us you like what we do, give us some advice, give us some reinforcement, tell us you like us, tell us you don't like us. That's what it's all about. So let us know if that's something you're interested in. And now for the movie. All right, so just give you a backstory on this car. It was installed, a clutch was installed somewhere else, and he's had a funny noise, and he's been back to us a couple of times trying to diagnose the noise. Of course you're going, well, it could be this, it could be that. We don't really know, it could be this. Yeah, and we're trying to guess without taking it apart, and even when you take it apart, you're making your best, you know, diagnosis. Well, one, everything is kind of dry in there. You've seen how videos talk about that. It's dry, they probably used the wrong grease. But it had a funny noise when you engage the clutch and disengage the clutch, whether you're driving or idling. It still had this funny sound. And that's what the pilot bearing looks like. The pilot bearing is the one that goes in the flywheel, and the shaft from the transmission goes into it. So that is destroyed. So while we have it apart, obviously we'll replace that bearing, and I'm thinking of re-greasing the transmission for the release bearing. We looked, the release bearing is a useNACHI bearing, which is a good bearing, which we're surprised most people put the aftermarket bearing in there. So the bearing is good. It doesn't have any grease on it. It's an ACT pressure plate and an OEM disc, which is a pretty common package. It's not our favorite package, but it does work. It just has a heavy clutch. So this is good news. We can call the customer and say, hey, guess what? It's the cheapest thing it could possibly be. But what sucks is the only way you get to that is you pull the transmission down, which is over there.
So here's the bearing removed from the flywheel. It came out in pieces. I've never seen something like this happen before. This is what it's supposed to look like. All of this once looked like that.
All right, so car is back together. I'm sure this customer is going to be happy. $18 part is what was causing all the problems and all the noise. Of course, the bearing was put in with the incorrect grease. If it had grease at all, it was the wrong grease, and it was pretty much dry. So now it has the Honda Aurora grease on there, and the clutch feels 1,000 times better, and it doesn't make noise. What sucks is to replace that bearing. You got to take the transmission off, the clutch and the flywheel. So the bearing's cheap, the labor is not get you, but it's the same work. Either way, we came in less than half of what we anticipated, so it's kind of nice to give the customer good news as opposed to bad. All right, first on the list today is this Corvette Z06 convertible. This is a customer that's been here before. If you remember, we did headers and the titanium X-pipe and Acrovic exhaust, as well as a tune. So it's here for fluids, just again keeping up with basic maintenance, but it's always good to keep on top of this stuff. So in past videos I've talked about this clutch fluid, how bad it gets. You see that? It's just all kinds of contamination in there. You can't really see, but there is water. And again, it's moisture, especially in Florida. It's so humid. When this fluid heats and cools, it condenses and pulls in moisture. Same with the brakes. So we're going to be flushing that all the way out, as well as the brakes. We're going to flush all of the fluid through and get fresh fluid through the whole system. It doesn't look as bad, but you can kind of see the contaminants in there. Hard to see on camera. There's a little bit of sparkly fluid on top, which is usually just water. Alright, so we got this wheel off. You're gonna see a giant brake. Look at that. It's a heck of a brake, isn't it? Look at, compared to my hand. Monster ceramic brakes.
You use your new Apple thing to measure it.
That's very true. George is under there draining the oil. Nice thing about having a lift is you don't need to lay on the ground.
Yeah.
Don't tell that to everybody, because everybody's going to want to lift. Alright, you want to see this app? Let's see if it works. You've already moved it around. So let's start here. And then we drag it over to here. I didn't get exactly across the middle, but according to this, it was, oh, the number's gone away. 15.5 inches. That's pretty close, George.
Is it?
Yeah. This isn't an official advertisement for Apple, but if it is, I could definitely use a new phone.
Yeah.
This is just a little bit of water and soap, just if there is any residual brake fluid that could have gone on here. It's synthetic brake fluid, so it's not going to hurt it, but we don't want it on the paint, right?
Right.
Also a little tip for taking your wheels off and putting them back on. If you're OCD and anal about it and notice it, see the tops of the calipers? And on this back side, if you see that all scraped up, it means the person that took the wheel off, took it off and drug it across the caliper.
You gotta be very careful with that.
And it's a heavy wheel. I mean, it's not real heavy, but it's heavy, and it's a pretty tight tolerance here. It's pretty close to caliper, so you have to take this off and hold it and bring it straight out. It's
a very deep wheel as well, so you have to make sure you're centered for a very long time.
Yeah. I'll show you when I put it back on. How about that?
Yeah. Just don't hit me in the face with it when you put it back on.
I can't promise that, but I don't want to scratch the caliper, so if someone's going to take a wheel in the face, it's part of the install. Pretty big wheel. It's a heavy wheel. So there's no tips apart from hold it out, don't drop it. See, there's not a lot of room. Don't let go of the wheel. Trick. Always feel it. Thumb all the way around before you put the bolts on. You don't want to get it crooked and then tighten it up and damage the hub-centric ring. There isn't a ring, it's actually machined into the wheel. The wheel is a perfect fit for the hub, but you don't want to roll it and damage that edge and, you know, kind of mushroom it over. Up in there, you've got maybe 3/8 of an inch. Obviously there's a bunch of room here, but towards the edges, and you don't want to drag that caliper. Look how pretty that caliper is. That irks me when you see those all scratched up. Alright, so this is the oil we're putting in it. As you see, it says European car formula. Well, in Europe, this is the oil they run in the Corvette. So, from what I am understanding, it has a higher zinc content. This is what I run in my ZR1. If you look through that video, you'll see where we did an oil analysis. Well, this has a little higher zinc content, and it has a broad spectrum from 0 to 40. Also, we're using the Mobil 1 filter. Again, this is recommended by GM. Of course, Mobil 1 is too. Someone's going to tell us why you shouldn't use this oil and why you should use that. Like I tell everybody, use your favorite oil and change it often. There you go. Corvette recommends Mobil 1. And again, give me a thumbs up, give me a thumbs down, tell me your favorite oil, tell me why you should use this oil. You know the drill. So there we go, fresh oil, fresh fluids. George is putting in the Mobil 1 here. We'll double check the amount that goes in, and then we'll check it. We'll do the way Corvette tells you to start it and run it and check it on the dipstick, etc. And this one's done. We'll get on to the next car. Alright, so it's nice, clean and dry, ready for the customer to pick up. That way, if it has a monster rainstorm, it doesn't sit out in the elements. It's nice and clean for him to pick it up. What a good looking car. Alright, next up is this Jaguar FPace. We're actually doing an axle back delete. It has a big muffler on there. We're going to take that big muffler off, and he wants just 2 straight pipes with 2 tips coming towards the back. Apparently it's a common practice on these and it sounds good. He wants the exhaust tips doing black. We're actually powder coating those because the valance over here is black, and he wants them to kind of blend in and kind of go with the whole theme of the bottom section black and the top white. So let's get on the lift, take the muffler down, show you what we got. Alright, so this is the back of the car right here. This is where the muffler would go. This is where it breaks right here. So we're going to make slip-ons here, bring the pipe back, and then bring one of our slash cut tips here. Let me go get it. We got the powder coated. Alright, so these are the freshly powder coated tips. So this will fit the car. It's pretty good sized tips. A 4.5-inch diameter slash cut double wall. So I think that will suit the car, and it's powder coated, which is what he asked for. You using my helmet again, George?
Of course.
Is yours still not working?
Nope.
Alright, we'll have to call Miller and see if they can do anything for us. That's one that just doesn't turn on and off, right? Or is it patchy? What was the problem?
It does whatever it wants, really. One time you'll try and weld, it'll be so dark you can't see anything, then it'll go light and blind you. And then sometimes it'll be alright, you'll weld, and then you'll realize that it's too dark here, so you've got to kind of move your head to where you can see. But it's too dark here, but it's light enough here.
So it's like having a pair of sunglasses with like a spot of water on it?
Yeah.
You just got to move your head around until you can see what you're doing?
Exactly.
I think it looks good. You want to take the wrapping off?
See what these things actually look like.
So these are a slash cut tip, but what we've done in the past is rather than tip straight up and down here, we actually roll the tip in towards the shape so it actually blends with the shape of the bumper. It actually follows the lines.
It's pretty black.
It is, that is gloss black. Look at that. That is like wet black. And the whole thing is stainless steel. We made it so it slips on the factory system right here. It has a stainless clamp on this side. So this is pretty easy to remove. You take those stainless clamps out. There was hangers missing, so we used brand new Honda hangers, which these are a really stiff hanger. We've actually selected this hanger on many exhausts. So it is actually rubber mounted. And it's easy removable. It's a driveway install now. If he decides to change it, sell the car, trade the car, sell these pieces, probably 20 minutes on the driveway and you're done. So you know what it means now. next up, this 07 S2000 is here for basic maintenance, engine oil, transmission fluid, diff fluid, brake and clutch, as well as spark plugs, and look it over. It's got a check engine light, and it seems to stall sometimes at a light. Wants us to look at that. Might be just part of the tune-up, but let me show you around this car. All right, so it's kind of practice. We always write down what we're doing from the paperwork. That way we can check it off as we go, and it's a good visual to know that we've covered everything on the list, or everything of the customer's concerns at least. This is the 07. I don't know how many miles this car has on it. We haven't documented it yet. Turn that down. It's not really helpful. Let's see. 111,000. It's actually not that high a mile, especially for an S2000. Anybody know these cars, if you take care of them, 111,000 is just nicely broken in. It's all stock under here. Stock airbox. All right, George, what we got going on over here?
A bunch of maintenance for the red car on the lift.
All right, so these are the plugs that came out, right?
Oh yeah.
Let's take a look at those bad boys. Now, how do you gap those?
It looks like you could gap these with a yardstick.
Yikes, look at that. You can actually measure that with a ruler, not a feeler gauge. So when we refer to the gap, just for people that don't know, we're talking the gap, put your hand behind it. The gap is the distance between the ground strap and that electrode, the little tip that sticks out. Mail?
Something with a smile.
Oh, that's gotta be good. What is it?
I don't know, let's see.
It's kind of a thin package, isn't it?
Yeah. And I know I didn't order anything.
Is it a CD?
Did you say something with a smile?
Something with a smile. Nice. Cardboard with a smile. And it has attention.
It's a DVD.
It's a DVD! What?
Holy moly.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Is that gift cards, really?
I just want to take them and throw them up in the air there. Holy moly, free holies. Starbucks and Panera for days. How about that?
Wow. That is unbelievable.
That is a lot.
That is a lot.
Wow, that's...
Going to Starbucks.
We have finally hit the big time. That's it.
We pulled the lever and we got all cherries.
That's it. All the cherries are all sevens, whatever is the big ticket. That is fantastic.
That's awesome. And that is from, we know who it's from.
Thank you.
I know who it's from.
We know it is. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you so much. That's totally awesome.
I've just found out you can scan that and send them a thank you note too.
Can you really?
Yeah, I just found that out.
Yeah.
One of the last things that we did.
Oh, I knew.
I looked at that. I'm like, oh, I'm like, what? I scanned it with my Amazon app and sent someone a thank you note.
Did you? Oh, I've done it.
Oh,
on the
that's
computer.
awesome.
But you can go in on the computer and type in like the code, and then you can thank them that way.
We got to do that. I didn't. Yeah, until George told me, I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
'Cause
Well, now you can thank him.
Yeah.
He can thank him, and I can thank him, and then we're all covered.
Absolutely.
Oh, somebody's at the door.
I think you got somebody in there.
I do. Oh, it's Prescott.
All right, so this is what feeler gauges are. Of course, you can get that little tool from the parts store that looks like a little wheel and it has a taper. It works. It's not my favorite. Careful, Esther. Is that you? I like these because it's the exact size. As you see, this one says 020. That's 20 thousandths. So typically about 30 thousandths is normal plug gap. I think Honda S2000 call for like 42.
Something like that.
So if you don't have a gauge that goes up to 42, guess what? You add them together. So there is a 25 and a 20. That would be 45 if my math serves me correct. So if we can get something a little closer, how about the 20 and the 19? So 39. That just gives us an idea. So let's put those together. Go ahead and stick that in the old plug there, George. Give us a... So what you're going to do is put that in there and check. It needs to be kind of tight. I see.
You can put another one in there.
That one rattles around. You could put almost a whole lot in there. Actually, you could put the handle in there. Hold the gauge pieces.
Not quite.
A little
Almost.
tight too.
We'll find the right number. This has got to be riveting to everyone on YouTube. There it
People
is.
are on the edge of their seat.
There's
Okay.
the gap.
So there's 4 of them, or 3 of them.
3.
So add that up.
We have
Look who's looking up at my shoulder watching.
0, 1.
She's watching. She's like, what do you guys do? Either that or you're waiting to ask me a question. You don't want to talk on camera.
No, I was just gonna say that there was a little bit of a no. It just said for that quick lunch or feed the sugar rush. So.
That's awesome. Somebody watches our videos.
Yeah, and I'm learning how to gap some plugs here.
All right, well, if you're going to start gapping plugs, there's no sense in George doing it. George can go ahead and go to Starbucks. All right, I'm going to watch some of George's skills. Look at that.
No, hold on. 2. Yeah, 3, 4, 5. Okay.
Yeah, that's close enough.
That's the gap of the spark plugs.
So it's not horrible, but it should be 42, 44. All right, everybody tune back in. That was getting a little boring. Tune back in. So the new plugs.
Maths.
Maths with George. How to add up 3 different numbers all at the same time. So these are the new plugs we're putting in. This will probably be the reason why the car stalls, and I'll also feel a little weak. All right, you want to see one of the saddest sights in the world? Look at that clutch. Again, this is why I tell you to flush your fluid. Again, I'm not telling you because I profit from it. Well, actually I do if you bring the car. But that causes a lot of damage to the master cylinder, and the slave cylinder damages the seals. Look at the brake fluid. That's probably never been changed. Again, we're gonna drain that all the way out, clean it, then flush fresh fluid through it. Now when I say flush, we'll fill that up probably 6 times and keep flushing it through, because it takes the contamination out of there, as well as all the way through the lines and the calipers, and in the clutch case the slave. So that is nasty. All right, so this is what it looks like after flushing. You see how clear that is now. That took about 10 or 11 containers to flush through that, and the brakes did about 5 of those, and now it's clear and the fluid continues to come out clear. So that's what it should look like. All right, so the red S2000 is finished. We took it for a test drive. It drove good. Customer picked it up about 3 hours ago, and I just called him just to follow up. I like to follow up and, you know, see if the car feels better. And he reported back, stalling problem is fixed, car feels better. So that's good, we like that. It is after hours, it is 6:10. And we're not going home because we have the black Camaro coming in, the black ZL1 1LE, the one that killed my $600 camera, which I got to remind him of it just because he feels bad. And he's bought me dinner like 3 times, but I'm like, hey, it happens. But he still feels bad. So I may as well remind him. His car's coming in, stay tuned. We're going to have another LHT after hours segment. That stuff is for him. His exhaust finally coming. It was on back order from Boiler, the X pipes, the one on the right. The exhaust is the one on the left. Watch that video. Hopefully it's going to sound fantastic. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, click the bell, click the like, click the dislike, kick the cat, whatever you got to do. Thanks for watching.